Hello, you're listening to A Band of Gamers, podcast episode 198. We're a gaming and music discovery show. It's our two favorite hobbies. In this episode, we start with Side A video games. We've got what we've been playing. Before that, some news. But in what we've been playing, we got Borderlands 3, Gears Pop, WoW Classic, and a triumphant return of the EP-ness segment.
What?
If you're new to the show, that's easy PlayStation Platinum trophies to increase your number. Between the two sides, we'll share what's in our pint glasses, drink some craft beers, and then we've got Side B music, recommended album from Shane and Carl. They kind of put me on the spot last episode, introduced me to a Brit-pop record over the last couple weeks. They want to hear my thoughts about it, share your thoughts about it. It's for fans of...
I'd say Libertines, Blur even.
I'd say, any 90s indie that the real fun stuff like Cast, Charlatans, Ride, Inspiral Carpets, but maybe a little Shit 7 in there as well.
And then stick around to the end of the show. We got a little bit of an update about A Band of Gamers podcast. I'm Joel, your MC, one of your three co-hosts, recording in a suburb of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Joining me, as always, my two best mates. First off, from Vancouver, Canada, it's Shane. What's up, Shane?
Not too much, man. Just out here ruining people's summers. It's kind of what I do now, and feels good, man. Feels good to pull people away from the enjoyment, So it's we're doing all right here, man. Doing all right.
That's why we took a little bit of a break, hey? Didn't want to destroy any summers.
Yeah, no, it's nice, It's nice to be back, but don't call it a comeback.
In Birmingham, England, the prophet of Pandora. It's Carl. Hey, Carl.
Oh, yes. Hello, gentlemen. Borderlands is back. That is all I've got to say.
So it's not Pandora, the streaming service? I was confused there for a second.
Oh, come on, dude. You need to play more Borderlands.
Apparently.
Service.
Well, first off, in news, the SNES is now on the Switch. They announced it and added it real quick, so they've added Super Nintendo games to the Nintendo Switch as part of their online service at no additional charge. So it came included with the annual fee you're already paying if you're on there and you're paying for it. And they've got pretty much all the good games in there, right? They hit all the big ones. Legend of Zelda, Link is in there, Super Metroid,
Mario Kart. They seem to have thrown all the big ones in straight off the bat.
F-Zero on there as well, I think. I think it's a lot of the stuff that was on the classic, the mini that they did. They dumped in there to start off with. It's a great lineup, man. That's a huge selling point for the Switch right now.
And then they made available, like they did when they added the NES games, little SNES controllers that you can buy through their online store for $40 or $50 or something. They're kind of pricey, but they clip on and charge via the Switch, like the joypads.
Yeah, nice little. That's tough to beat that controller. The Super Nintendo controller is landmark in gaming. It changed how we played games. It's incredible and cool that they added that peripheral to such a great service that they're doing right now.
Yeah, you'll never beat that two convex and two concave buttons, man. It was so good on your thumb.
You guys try it yet? I have not. I would say that the NES interface, or the interface to play those NES games, was getting a little crowded. You'd have to scroll through just a ton of games, and then they had the easy versions of some games, so you'd see games twice in the list. It was real clumsy So I haven't fired up the SNES yet on there, but I was curious if it's as clumsy, the interface.
I have booted it up, mate. I had a quick look the other week, and I thought I'm just gonna have a look at it, and just because I like that it's in its own app, and the two kind of sit side by side with just the little joypads. It's cool. But I went in there and I had a little look at Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and Link to the Past even, and jumped in there. I thought it's been a few years since I played this. I'll just have a look at this for 10, 15 minutes. So 2 hours later, and it's 12:30 in the evening, and I'm thinking, I need to go to bed. But it's brilliant to be able to just pick up them games and play them. And I think they download directly. When you download the app, it downloads all the games just straight on there, so you can play them offline by the look of it. So I'm chuffed with that. I should be going through that catalogue.
Man, that Zelda game, that is definitely a cartridge I need. Folks want way too much for it.
You're going to get the gold one.
No, I don't think they're no. It was just I think it was just a great cart on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, the
In
gold
past.
was Zelda, the first one on the NES.
On the NES.
Yeah, those ones were.
It's
Yeah.
a gold box in it. That's yeah.
Yeah.
How much is that one going for, Shane? I know it's probably pricey. Even now that they've got them on other platforms, they're still charging an arm and a leg for them.
Yeah, I usually see it. It's usually about $50, $60 folks want for that. For like a nice, like a decent copy, we'll say. Maybe not, perfect, but for a decent one, where the label's not torn or anything, it's at least $50.
Doesn't seem too bad. It was more expensive before, right? 100, 150 a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's always changing, man. Retro life, collecting carts, never gets old. Never get used to it.
That's quite a contradiction.
So what we're about today, we're all about the wordplay today. So hang in and for a ride this episode.
I like it. In other news, Apple Arcade, there's more details, was announced during their presser when they talked about the new iPhone, the new Apple Watch, all that stuff. But Apple Arcade comes out September 19th, so probably just a couple days after you hear this if you're listening right away. Otherwise, it's out now. First month for free. Then you get $4.99 as the charge. It's a subscription service. Compatible with Xbox One and PS4 controllers, which is nice. I'm assuming via Bluetooth. Unlimited access to 100 plus games. Probably not that many when it first rolls out, but they've partnered with quite a few developers, including Q Games, many others. You can share your subscription with up to 5 family members. It's ad-free. They're claiming no additional purchases. Does that mean it's less not loot box, but less like spammy like other apps? I hope.
Yeah, that would be really convenient. Because I shouldn't say that's the worst part about playing mobile games, but it's a big problem. You all of a sudden every couple minutes there's a new ad that pops up. Like, oh hey, don't forget to check out this.
Check out our shop.
Or they make you grind just way too hard instead of paying actual money, which is pretty annoying. You can jump device to device with this, and apparently your save game, everything, your files will all be shared. That's, of course, iPhone, iPad, your Mac, MacBook, and then Apple TV. Also, you can download to play the games, so you can play them offline or online. You decide whether to share your personal data. Not really a big deal, but in this day and age, I do give Apple credit. They are a little bit more cautious with people's data than a lot of companies out there. I actually appreciate that. Works with screen time and your parental controls. So if you got kids and you want to keep an eye on their time, they've got all that plugged in there as well. Big news during the presser, for me at least, there's a new Chu Chu Rocket. Chu Chu Rocket, man. I'm excited. They announced that during the Apple presser. It's going to be, I think, exclusive to the system.
I want to share your excitement for this one, but I'm unfamiliar with the Chu Chu Rocket series, to be honest.
Oh, man, there's only one game.
Yeah, Dreamcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dreamcast
it
game.
Came with it. I remember, I think I played a couple of games of it and I was like, yeah, that looks pretty cool. And then just put it on the back burner. I never really got into the Chu Chu Rocket craze.
My wife and I played the hell out of that, man. It was a 4-player. You could do 2 with like 2 AI. And basically you can drop arrows down on a tiled map. You're separated into 4 quadrants, like equal share on a screen. And there's mice pouring out of different corners or different spots of the map. And you have to funnel them into your little like nest. Each character's got a nest kind of deal. And you just drop arrows and change their directions, either left or right, down or like up. And you can put arrows wherever. It's not just in your tile. So you're kind of battling with your opponents. You're putting arrows on top of arrows or next to arrows. So for example, one of your opponents is funneling them straight into like all the way across into their little nest or home spot. Drop a down arrow, it'll funnel them down towards you, and then you can just keep battling back and forth, and then eventually those arrows come up. Had some really quirky, pretty awesome, real bassy kind of soundtrack to it. wife and I played the heck out of it. One of my favorite Dreamcast games. Didn't come for free over here. We had to pay for it. But I think at some point they might have threw it in with like some online package or something. I don't recall. But anyway, there's a new Chu Chu Rocket coming. It's not the Chu Chu Rocket. It's a sequel. It's called Chu Chu Rocket Universe. It looks like it's going to be a single player game. I'm a little disappointed by that. I wanted to kind of play it with my wife like I was before. It looks like there's just a bunch of puzzles. A little different layout, a little different view. It was top down before, and now it's kind of more isometric. But whatever. I'm in. Chu Chu Rocket. That's pretty cool.
There you go.
Q Games, which I'm a fan of, since they bring us those great Pixel Junk Monster games I love. They partnered with Konami, or Konami hired them to make a new Frogger game. It's called Frogger in Toy Town.
What? A new Frogger? Always reminds me of that great Seinfeld episode.
Oh, yeah. With George.
Yeah, but he had to keep it plugged in or something. He had to cross the street so they could replug it. I don't know.
Yeah, he had to cross the street with it. And they showed like a top-down view of him like trying to go through the traffic with the arcade cabinet like Frogger. That's excellent. All right, Carl, where's the snark?
No snark. No snark. Just some people on social media being like, "Oh, yeah, it's Crossy Road, man." I'm like, it's that's where my the age sets in. It's like, oh, damn kids. No, I like a bit of Frogger, man. I one of the games I grew up on. I do think the whole subscribing to play mobile games, like Shane just said, that's not the worst thing about playing mobile games. The worst thing about playing mobile games is you're actually playing mobile games. But they serve a purpose for I'll jump in and play like a little, a couple of hours of a game, and then I'll put it on the back burner, and that's pretty much how I digest mobile games. So in theory, a subscription service would work, because you can just, pick and choose, dive in, have a couple of goes on something, get rid, pick up the next one. But I don't know, having to pay another subscription for me, I'm just not into it.
So what's the problem with mobile games besides the like having all those little hooks to try and get you to pay? Is it the fact that you don't have a controller? Because this to me, since you can use your existing Xbox One or PS4 controllers, kind of seems like it'd be more like the Switch. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, Carl.
Yeah, but the thing is, and I get that, but you're going to be, you're at home, you're like, I've got my phone out. Oh, I can pick up my controller, sync it with my phone and play on my phone. Or you could just play the console that you want, you could just play your PS4 with the Xbox. I think it would be good traveling. Like, you could be thinking, do you know what, maybe don't want to take the Switch or whatever, but I might just chuck a pad in the bag. And, even if you get some of those little third-party controllers, they're a bit smaller, a bit more compact, but still pretty good. It might be good for something like that, perhaps. But, I do like the fact you can share the account with your family members. That's pretty cool. So, even if generally, if someone's got an iPhone, the whole family's on them, you've got the infrastructure where dad gets the new one, hands it down to the kid, blah, blah, blah. So you could find out that, that's £6 a month or whatever it is, £5 a month, could actually work out quite well if everyone's on that plan.
To get a month trial, you got Chu Chu Rocket in there, you got a Q Games game in there. I'm going to try it. I'll give it the first month. I'll give it a go. And I like what they're selling. They're talking about, they showed a lot of really kind of quirky and more artsy kind of creative games with this thing. And sometimes that's in my wheelhouse. I like those chill experiences more than I get into like the Call of Duties and the other games sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
So I want to give it a try. I'm not saying it's going to be great. I have no clue, but I'm going to try it for a month. See how it is. And it times well with a little vacation upcoming where I can check it on the plane a little bit, and let's see. That's really it for news. We've got some games we want to talk about. Since we're talking about mobile games, I'll get us started here. Gears Pop. I tried this. Something that was free with plenty of opportunities in-game to buy currency and tokens and all sorts of crap to advance your character and to upgrade. Kind of bide the time a little bit until the new Gears 5 came out, so I figured I'd give it a try. I've already grown bored with it. I'm already done playing it. It was okay for a few minutes. I do like that it's you're competing against someone else, kind of online competitive. You're not playing a computer. You're always playing another character. But the whole grind of the game is just it's boring. I think what ends up happening is the player that has more upgrades and has played more usually wins. And they do match you up fairly well. I mean, they're matching you typically up against people about your same, wouldn't say skill level, but about your same like level up level, or how far you've gotten or progressed your character. But it gets old really quick.
Yeah, I enjoyed playing it. I installed it when it came out, and you can earn achievements through the game as well, which is pretty cool. It ties into your Xbox account, and I was like, oh yeah, this could be cool. But it pretty much is just Clash of Clans, and I think if you want to play that kind of game, you're probably going to just go and play Clash of Clans. But yeah, for what it is, it's pretty fun, and I think it helped to remind people that Gears was dropping, and something to play, like you say, Joel, till that came out.
I wish there was a communication in there. Like you have a good match. Sometimes you have a really good match. You feel like it was a competitive back and forth, and I want to give the person a shout, like, "Hey, man, good match." And there's zero like communication in that game. You just drop in, you play, and then you're pulled out. So there's no way to even look them up and then send them a message later and say, "Hey, nice job," unless they do show you like the Xbox gamer tag. If you are an Xbox player, it'll show the Xbox gamer tag. I suppose I could go to my Xbox, look that person up, and send them a message, but kind of a giant pain in the ass.
That's going to be a really good match too.
Oh yeah,
to go up and fire up the Xbox, wait for it to load up, then it's got to update, so you got to go through a gig update. Never mind. But it seems like a bit of it seems like a testing ground for like Funko to possibly get into the video game thing, kind of like the Lego games, and kind of try and see if it works or whatnot, and expand from there. Because the Funko universe is, well, I can't say what I think of it because it'd probably get us kicked off Spotify. But whatever.
No, please. What do you think about it?
It's just they got a very passionate fan base, we'll say.
Or casual, I don't buy a lot of them, but I have started to accumulate some, and I'm like, what am I going to do with all these? But for one-offs and things that you really want, I think they're quite cool. But like you say, it is a bit of a monster now.
Yeah.
Perhaps they are looking at that. But, the amount of licenses, the headache that would give them, I don't know.
We all got a couple of those things, right?
Oh, yeah.
I've got like 4 of them. My wife's got 2 sitting on her desk. When we were all together in Vancouver, Shane took us to a toy store where they had like thousands of these things. And I saw they had Don't Starve figures, and they had Prince.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe I'll grab my wife one. I'm like, nah, she ain't wants this. I get home and she's like, I told her. She's like, well, why didn't you buy them? I want those. So I had to go on Amazon and buy those after the fact. I don't know if I told you guys that, but now she has the
turn the car around, going back to MKE. Yeah.
She's got those little she's got the Don't Starve and the Prince on her desk at work. It's little conversation starters, I guess. They're all right, It's nice to have a couple of them, but yeah, I'm not.
Oh man, that toy store there. I could have stayed there all day. It was so cool.
Yeah, what's that place called?
Tried to. But
I did my best. To turn around and I realised I'm just wandering the shop on my own, looking at everything, taking videos and photos. And I go, where are them paying? Like, you just both sat on a bench at the front of the store, like it's like £2 at the kids' shop,
right?
And just like, oh, for God's sake.
Would have worked a little better if they served beer. I probably would have had a little bit more patience. Yeah. What's the name of that store, Shane? That was cool.
Toy Traders. Toy Traders in Langley, British Columbia. Definitely check them out. They have tons of, basically when celebrities are in town, they always kind of swing by there. They got a whole wall of, signed photos and whatnot. And Kevin Smith fan, he's done numerous videos there. He always stops by and, signs a bunch of merch, and, they put it up for sale with, the money going to, like Children's Hospital and great causes and whatnot. So it's a fantastic store. Definitely check them out online or on social media. It's Toy Traders.
Yeah, they had all those like movie scenes set up with action figures just throughout the entire store and all sorts of memorabilia. And so it was a cool place to walk around.
Yeah.
Played a little bit of a couple other games. Super Mega Baseball 2. I always go back to that one right in the middle of a pennant race. Here in the States, baseball is kind of hot right now. as the season comes to an end. So I fire that up on occasion. Reason I'm mentioning it, if you haven't played Super Mega Baseball 2 or 1 for that matter, and you like baseball, don't miss on this one. It's a great series from Heavy Metal Games. Is that right? Right next to Shane there in Vancouver.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Heavy Metal. Yeah, Super Mega Baseball 2. The first one was we're such big fans of, but the second one is such a big step up for them. They really nailed, I think, what they're really trying to get done on the first one, and the second iteration of the game is just phenomenal, fantastic game.
That's it for me. A couple other things we'll probably talk more about next episode. We've got some big games that you guys have been playing, so should get at them.
So the new iteration of NHL came out this past week, NHL 20, and much like Joel's relationship with Madden, games that come out every year is kind of on the fence, like, no, I'll wait for a sale or whatnot, because it's tough putting that money out every year for a good roster update, and
yeah,
that's about it, really. But I heard that NHL 20 was smooth. I heard it was smooth gameplay.
Has it got that new engine? Has it got a bit of that?
No,
Frostbite in there yet?
No, they haven't done Frostbite yet, man.
Goddamn.
I know it bugs me. It bugs me. Just get over. Use Frostbite. FIFA's using Frostbite. I think Madden's starting to use Frostbite now. Everybody is, and the games, they look incredible with the Frostbite engine. Shell's got to get over there, man. EA, what are you doing? Every year, and this one just seems, I don't know. It seems much like the last one. It does play a little bit better. There is, some improvements in the skating and whatnot. It is a better game, yes. But some of the aesthetics, the scoreboard and whatnot, it really bugged people because it seems really arcadey. As they're trying to fine tune a simulation game, they go to like arcadey graphics and whatnot, and you score, and there's a big goal written across the screen and whatnot. It's like, pick what you're. Leave that stuff. That stuff is great. The arcadey stuff is great for like the 3-on-3s, the online, 1v1 V1 stuff that they're doing. They're getting into. That's where that works fantastic. In the regular game, let's try to keep it like as authentic as we can. Like, let's get sure. The real scoreboard going up. You got the real commentators. That's great, but just tweak that, and we got a great game of hockey. And of course, start using Frostbite.
Do it now,
because it sucks without it right now. So hopefully in a few years that'll happen, and we'll be back. And but yeah, so had to sum up NHL 20 in one word: smooth.
Smooth.
So now what I said about Madden, smartass.
Wow. Kicked off the whole conversation. Yeah, exactly. It's throwback.
Okay.
It is.
I walked away to get a beer and close the front doors. The dog doesn't go nuts and start barking when my wife gets home from grocery shopping. I come back and all I hear is, I can wrap it up in one word: smooth.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, sometimes you got to get that new game in you. Got to get a new shiny. I've been playing a little bit of an old classic, WoW classic. To be fair, now I started playing World of Warcraft probably 2005ish. I'm guessing something like that when vanilla first came out. Massive nerd, loved my MMOs. Jumped from EverQuest onto World of Warcraft, and it just sucks you in. It's such a phenomenal game, and Blizzard have changed it over the years. They've released expansion after expansion, graphic updates. They've ruined the game, as everyone tells them. And, people have been, clamoring for classic WoW. We want the old WoW back, We want to walk everywhere. We don't want to be able to fly anywhere or buy mounts or, we want to grind for hours and hours to level up. And, people have all the quality of life changes that you've got in the new game, which makes it so easy and cookie cutter to level your dudes and all the rest of it. People don't want that. People want to go back to huge raiding parties and farming for hours just to get ready for the dungeon, and then traveling there. You could get killed on the way there. Raiding took days, man, on old World of Warcraft. But the dungeons were brilliant experiences. When you went and said to your guild, right, this weekend, we're going to be getting together. We're going to do next Ramas this weekend. It was a whole weekend. You know what I mean? You'd spend half the day prepping, half the day raiding. It was brilliant fun. But it's more the people and the experience, learning that experience for the first time. So I was a bit nervous going back into WoW. I was like, it's always had its hooks in me. I always wanted to go back and have a play. It's so much fun still. This is the thing that I kind of don't get. Like all the things that they've changed over the years, they've done some really good things to it. They've done some really crap things to it, but it's still a lot of fun. I'm really surprised at just how much I've enjoyed farming and grinding my levels. And yeah, it seems bizarre. I'm not quite sure how long I'll play it for. It was kind of filling a bit of a hole. I was like, I need something to play, and I'm bored of everything, waiting for the game I'm going to talk about next. But yeah, very pleasantly surprised. I think it's seen a lot of streamers switch over to WoW Classic. A lot of streamers are younger now. They never would have been around when Vanilla Warcraft was here. So for them, it's like discovering this for the first time, and they've all started getting into it. So it's cool. It's bumped up Blizzard's subscribers for Warcraft, and yeah, a lot of people enjoying it, which I'm glad. I'm glad people can go back and enjoy that experience. So we'll see whether I still carry on playing in the next couple of months. I think I probably will for a couple of months. I do have an account, an EU account, and an American account, so I can play with whoever's on. So yeah, good fun.
Is the subscription thing applicable to both World of Warcraft? So you subscribe to one, and you can. So it might be a carrot to get you in the other one, or no? The updated one.
Well, I'm on the EU at the minute, but if people are playing on OWM, I was talking to Barznak the other day. I think he's on the American server, and I was like, okay, I can do that. I'll just wait for one to roll off and just jump on the other one, and it's good fun, especially the raids and shit. So we'll see how it pans out. But the main game I'm going to talk about is a little gem called Borderlands 3. Now, as regular listeners to the show will know, I love me some Borderlands. God knows how many times I've played through 1 and 2 and the Telltale game. Even I even finished the pre-sequel a couple of times. And when they announced Borderlands 3, I was so excited. So excited. I still play Borderlands 2 to this day. I've gone back and I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. So I was super, super stoked. A lot of people were a bit worried, thinking, it's not aged well. It's just going to be more Borderlands. And that's absolutely fine with me. It's exactly what it is. It's more Borderlands. And yeah, I love it. What can I say? It's more Borderlands. It's had a bit of a graphical overhaul, obviously. Borderlands 2 was 7 years ago on PS3, Xbox 360. So it's still got that cell shaded even. I haven't even had a beer yet. Still got that cell shaded look to it, but it looks a lot sharper, as you'd expect on the new consoles. It still doesn't look as flashy. I played this after playing Gears 5 the other day, which we'll talk about next episode. And obviously you can't compare the two in terms of how they look, but it still looks damn good. And yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed the past 24 hours on this game. I think I'm up to level 17 of 50 of the main levels. The game, I think the story mode in this game is about 30 hours. If you do the side quests and stuff, I think you're talking 45 to 50 hours of gameplay. And that's before everyone finishes it multiple times. There's some stuff that unlocks at the end of the game as well. There's not too much in terms of updates. They've done little things and tweaked little things which make a massive difference. You automatically pick up ammo now. So, when you open a box, you used to physically click on that piece of ammo. Like if you walked over it on the floor, I think you picked it up anyway. But now when you open chests, it just automatically comes to you, the same as money would and things like that. So I think you can now it automatically allocate it to you. You automatically pick up iridium as well. It just ticks along in the bottom corner. You don't even notice you're getting it off mobs, which is pretty cool. The fast travel is nice. You can just, as soon as you finish an objective, jump into the map, fast travel back to where you're going to hand the quest in. That's nice, rather than running back to the little machine and getting out of an area. That's pretty cool. The actions now unlock at level 1. So before you kind of, you might wait a couple of couple of levels and stuff, and until you actually unlock your abilities. You've got more than one now. You can kind of utilize a couple of different ones on each skill tree. Zane, the character I'm using at the minute, can use 2 at a time. So he forgoes his grenade and he just uses those two abilities, and you can pick between 2 out of 3. So a lot of fun. A lot of the skill trees are pretty cool. A lot of options for how you want to deal your damage and stuff. They've added a couple of things in there in terms of the actual gunplay. You know, if you go back and play Borderlands 2 and then you come back and play Destiny or something like that, you know, Borderlands 2 feels a bit slower, a bit more clunky. But in 3, they've just put in a couple of those things that you would have in Destiny. So if you can sprint and you can hit the crouch button, you'll slide along. You can mantle. You know, if you're jumping up on platforms, you can pull yourself up on platforms. So there's no awkward dropping off and things like that you would get when you're trying to reach difficult places. And you've got like a ground pound as well. You can jump in the air and slam down the ground and things like that. So they've dropped little things. Yeah, Shane's raising his eyes there. If you jump and hit and press the crouch button, you'll slam down. It's pretty cool. You know, it's nothing revolutionary like these things are in other shooters, but it's nice that they've sprinkled these things in there. I'm looking forward to playing the online. Haven't played any of that yet. The way that they work down there is a little bit different. You can do a loot instance mode where, you know, you're level 20, someone else is level 5, you join in together and you're both the same level pretty much, and the mobs are split between you. You have your own loot. You know, the loot that drops, it's just for you. And you say, you know, your car partner's got his version as well. Or you can have the old version where you just go in, you know, the overpowered dude can help out the one who's lower level and just mow through it all and farm goodies. So,
yeah, I can only imagine, you know, all the people that started playing Borderlands 2 and whatnot. Oh, no, I want the loot. How come he gets? Where's mine? I need my own.
Yeah.
It just seemed like when I saw that pop up, because it's like one of the first things that you got to sort out when you're sorting your characters, pick how you want the loot to go. It's like really like participation awards. You know, everybody's gonna get some loot.
You all get a nice shiny gun.
Well, wait till your father's gone, then you get your loot.
Yeah, I mean, God knows how other people play, but generally I'd go through, like, I've played through a ton of Borderlands 2 with Shane, and we'd be like, oh, you have that, dude? Oh, you know, no, you have that. Yeah. It's always very polite. You know, there's never any fighting over stuff.
Well, this is why I always take my time with games like this. Like I progress a lot slower. You know, maybe I'm gonna be out for next week. I can't play. You go ahead and whatnot. And then when I come back in, all my friends are a lot higher levels, and they dump down great weapons to me. It's fantastic.
I'll see your tactic now, mate. I'll see. Well, we're playing the other mode then.
Jinx.
So the guns themselves, a lot's been made about all these different versions. There's so bazillions of different combinations for the weapons. Got to say, the weapons this time around feel fantastic. Some of the guns I've picked up, I'm like, they're just a dream. You know.
So you got the butt plug.
Oh yeah, the vibration attachment's brilliant. So like you're firing those off, and you know you'll see like chunks of the energy bars go down, the shields get like it feels more. Feels a lot more satisfying than I think the shooting did in Borderlands 2. There's still a couple of guns which I'm not a fan of, where you kind of shoot these big glowing orbs and they've got no impact, they've got no like oomph to them. But generally, like, it's pretty fucking awesome. There's dual rates, dual elements, secondary fire types, so you can switch between the damage you want to do on the same gun. That's pretty freaking awesome. So
that is. One of the first weapons I got had that, and I was like, wait a minute, it's also does shock damage, and I can switch between for whatever. So cool. The weapons are so well thought out in this game. They really one of the most repetitive things is you do get a lot of loot as you go through the game and whatnot, and they've put so much attention to detail in all the weapons and whatnot that every time somebody drops something, you got to go over and take a look. Oh, what's this? What's this do? Beat one boss, and it was a gun that was almost kind of like a speaker type thing, and it would shoot out like these like on a EQ with like the red and blue lines for like an EQ balance, so it had those shooting out. It was like, whoa, this is so cool. Just little things that they've added to progressing the loot and getting and searching for better loot as well.
Yeah, man. When you come up against a boss like that, and he's you need to have shock damage on your weapon, for example. You're like, ah, crap. And, you'd have those moments in prior games. You'd have to go and get one because, sometimes you're selling all your crap and you're walking around with 4 weapons, and you'd be like, oh, crap, I need to be doing shock damage to this dude. Whereas now you can be like, oh, I've got corrosive and shock on this weapon, so I'll cycle through. And some, if they're impervious to one type, you can look at ping it, use the other type on them. So that's pretty cool. I have noticed I'm running out of ammunition a lot more on 3 than I have in the other games. I'm constantly having to kind of take weapons out of the backpack, like chuck another one in, but like, right, okay, I've got no SMG ammo left, so I've got to use a rifle and stuff like that. So I don't know whether some of the guns obviously use 4 pieces of ammunition in one shot and things like that. So it's a bit over the top, more over the top. So I do find myself, struggling with that a little bit, but just expanding the SDUs and stuff to give you more ammunition for those different weapons. Just a bit of a bit more work, I think. And things are filtered down to you over more levels, over more parts of the game. You can't just do everything, off the bat. There'll be things you look at in levels and you just can't do it. You've got to come back at the end of the game or towards the end of the game when you've unlocked specific abilities to do things. So definitely need to keep at it until you get all the goodies that are available to you.
Yeah, it's definitely not designed for a single playthrough. But who's only ever played through a Borderlands game once? I mean, it's probably
Absolutely.
never happened.
It does look like they've got some. If you play Diablo 3, when you finish that game, you kind of have these Paragon levels afterwards. So you play through, and rather than earn experience at the level cap, you earn these additional Paragon levels. And it looks like they're doing something similar with Borderlands 3, where at the end of the game, you then unlock this other experience screen, and you can allocate skill points and do all that stuff. So it looks like there's a ton of stuff to do at the end game. A couple of small performance issues I have noticed. The loading, the loading times aren't brilliant. And when you do kind of jump in, it takes a while for textures to load through and stuff. And you did have that in Borderlands 2 as well. You kind of come in and you think you'll just see things pop in, detail on machines, bit of background, stuff like that. And this one can't always open the UI. So if you fast travel, you come into somewhere and you're trying to press the big button in the middle, and it just will say can't open UI while it's loading stuff in. It's not a big deal, but just a couple of things like that I've just found. I suppose it's loading in more stuff. I get it. There is an option to set this to performance or graphics, as with any kind of HDR. Game on the new consoles, definitely set it to performance. On my Pro, I've set it to both, just have a play. And if you set it to graphics, it doesn't run as well, noticeably.
Which system, Carl? Is it PS4? PS4, PC, Pro. PS4 Pro.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, in performance, it runs like butter. It's great. But when you do just tweak it to the setting, you do notice that bit, a bit more stuttery on occasions and things like that. So it's not perfect. It's 90% of the way there, but just a few little things, just little teething problems. Really, probably can be patched out, whatever. So,
yeah, I think it could definitely use a decent little patch. I've noticed it's gotten a little bit choppy at times, but I was playing co-op online with Massive Attack. And I did notice that, I'd go to grab loot and it would just bump me a couple feet over. It was really, really weird, but it seems like it's probably gonna need a nice little patch just to, I don't know, smooth things out a little bit.
That's concerning though, guys. I mean, what does it run like on a base PS4 if it's struggling on a Pro?
I'm not sure.
I actually asked when I was playing with Massive Attack last night. I mentioned it. I was like, I noticed a little bit of that, but not very often. His was running really smooth. We did have a talk about that last night, and he's got a base, I think a first gen PS4 as well. So it seems to be running all right, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's nothing. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing that detracts from my enjoyment with it, and we'll talk about Gears next time we record, which has got its own little bugs and things. It's just one of, I think, the more that time that they put into these games, the more they aim for. You don't always get that day one, I don't know, like God of War. You might get something that's just needs a little bit of love, a little bit of a patch. Not to No Man's Sky effect, but just a little bit of TLC.
And keep in mind the Handsome collection. We played a lot of Borderlands through, and that is silky smooth
on PS4 or on PS3 also.
Yeah.
PS4.
Yeah, well, it should be, right? Yeah. I mean, it's a last gen game.
Yeah, it's a HD remake in essence, but yeah, it does really super good.
I guess my expectation is I'm not ripping on Borderlands. I'm just speaking in general here. When you upgrade to like a 1X or a PS4 Pro, and a new game comes out that's available for both that base and the upgraded systems, I expect that the upgraded system is going to run the game well because it's also optimized for that lower level system. It's frustrating, I guess.
I think
that's not happening.
It would, because of the deal that they've done with Epic to have it on the Epic Game Store over Steam. It wouldn't surprise me if this is optimized for PC, and the next tier of consoles down. Sure, it's going to run great, but you are going to have these odd little things. I'll probably pick it up on PC as well, and Xbox, and Switch if it ever comes out. But it is a little bit, you're dropping 60 quid in a new game. You want it to be perfect, especially when this has been in development for 7 years. But it's still fantastic. I'm loving it.
Yeah, basically. I mean, we've been in this is the second generation of first day patch era, really. The era of unfinished games, really. So expecting, in a perfect world, you buy the game, you bring it home, it should work perfectly. And that goes with any game. Like, it doesn't matter Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Switch. It doesn't matter studio, you want it to be perfect. But that's very rarely the case now. There's usually something, in the beginning, and it may take a patch or two and then sorts itself out and everything's great. It's just it's weird.
Yeah. I agree. If it's a performance issue and it's chugging and it's made for a system that's where times are different now, where you've got two SKUs and either Xbox and PS4. One has more horsepower, the other one is the base system, and it's chugging on the one with horsepower. That's frustrating. I get what you're saying. I mean, games need patches, but it's got to run. I mean, logically, it's got to run poorer on the base system if it's chugging on the stronger system, more powerful system. I can't imagine I can't imagine 100%. Your buddy Massive Attack's game is running smoother than yours. I mean, that makes no flipping sense whatsoever, right? It can't be. If he's got a lower level PS4 and you've got the optimal PS4 Pro, and yours is chugging, his has to be chugging at those same moments and then some.
100% agree with you. Here's an example, though. Here's a good example. The first Borderlands Game of the Year edition that recently has come out on this generation, remastered and whatnot. Started off playing it, played great, played for a number of hours, whatnot. Played with Carl. We played it. I played with Massive Attack. Had a great time and whatnot. Put it away. Or didn't play it for a few months. Put it back up. It's gone through patches and whatnot. Tried to play with Carl maybe a month ago. The game chugged and was so choppy. I was getting so dizzy. I had to stop playing. I had to say to Carl, like, I can't do anymore. Like, I felt like I was going to puke. Something changed. I don't know if it was a server thing or whatnot, but it got so bad every time the camera would move. It was just so disorienting. It was insane. So I'm hoping something like this is just maybe a server thing, because there's millions of people. It's like it's like the whole, I hate saying but it's the most anticipated game of the year. I'm hoping it's just something simple like that, and over a couple of weeks it gets sorted out. But as far as the gameplay goes, when you're in there, man, it's so much fun though. It really is a great game. But there's those little things that are just that's like any game that comes out, I guess.
Yeah, it is, and I think it for me it definitely is. Like, if I'm more willing to. If I'm loving the game, obviously you forgive those faults a lot easier, and I've glowed about Ultimate Alliance 3, and it's definitely got its issues, like the loading times in that game. You can literally go and make a cup of tea and come back and it's still loading in a level. Camera's awful, but it's still a ton of fun, and you still find that 90% of the time you're having the fun with it. Whereas someone like Red Dead, when we all played that last year, and I was playing that on the One X, and it looked lovely, but then it crashed me to dashboard like 3-4 times, and lost save progress and things like that on a game that you're not enjoying as much. You take it to heart a bit more, and you're like, you kind of don't give it the pass, and you shouldn't really give any game the pass. And again, it's the same thing with Gears. Playing through a bit of that, and there's a couple of glitches and a couple of little things, and I'm like, it's fine. It doesn't really impact the game, but and again, you should expect that to be flawless. But it's just the world we live in now. I think it's not Fallout levels, Bethesda levels, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you just hear a lot of games that come out where, like in Crackdown 3, I think was an example of this, where it runs really well on the One X, but then doesn't run very well on the regular base Xbox One. And it's frustrating. It's like, they tell you don't need to upgrade. They tell you don't need the faster one. I mean, it's only for 4K HDR. But then as you get this late in the life cycle where we are, the developers are making these games for they're trying to show off those more powerful systems. They're trying to make their games look better and better and better. And who ends up suffering is those people that did not upgrade or don't have the money to upgrade.
Sure.
And that's frustrating. I thought that's what we were kind of getting at here with Borderlands 3, but doesn't sound like it. That's where, but Gears 5, and we'll get it more into it next episode so we can have some more time with the game, because it's one platform. I have higher expectations based on this problem for Gears 5, because it's optimized for Xbox specifically on that architecture. They're not worried about the PS4 version. It is on PC, I think, also, so they do have that added complexity, but it becomes even more important. I hope it. Obviously, if you go to things like Digital Foundry and you read reviews, and I do this all the time, where I'm like, which system does it run better on? Because I have a One X, because I paid $500 for the thing when it came out, I wanted the game to run better on there, but I'm equally disappointed, even though I'm not playing the lower level console. I think it's shitty and unfair if the people that didn't pony up for the more powerful system get screwed. I think it's really crappy.
Joel, you just made a really good point. The fact that it's this late into the life cycle and these developers are focusing on the higher horsepower console to the point where now they're really pushing those to their limits now. Like, it's just, like the end of every console life cycle. There's the games just push harder and harder and harder. And maybe this is the time where we're going to really start seeing that before, the next Xbox comes out, the next PlayStation comes out. This might be an unfortunate, thing we might be used to or might be seeing more of in the next year.
Yeah, usually this late in the life cycle is when the games run their best. It's like, not only do they get more out of the consoles and they really know how to develop for the thing, but they're the smoothest games, using your phrase from earlier. At this point in the life cycle, they're better at everything, not only how it looks, but how it performs. And that's a little disappointing now that we're in this iterative life cycle where we've got these, and it's going to this is the future, right? I mean, as soon as they come out the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever it is next, they're going to have a half step again. Yep. And shit, they might even have 2 half steps. I mean, we're not far off from the end of new consoles, and they just keep upgrading the thing over and over again. And Xbox is already kind of getting there.
It'll be streaming soon.
Nope. I'm out. We'll return it.
Go retro, I guess, at that point.
Yep.
All right. Well, a couple more games to talk about. E-penis.
Yeah. Got a couple here. A couple real quickies here. Radaleka Games or whatnot. The kings of the 5-minute platinum. My favorite studio of the year. Not quite. Okay, first one. Mochi Mochi Boy. Yeah, I have no idea. It's basically, hey, remember, did you have an old Nokia phone growing up as a youngster? Well, I did, and I played a lot of Snake on there. Snake was the original mobile game, almost. There's probably one before it, but whatever. So this game is a lot like that. It's a lot like Snake. You're kind of doing a puzzle. Got a board down. You get your Snake going through. You got to make sure you go so you get all the pings there. You do about 50 of those levels, boom, you get a platinum trophy. Very easy. It's a plat as well, so it's cross-buy. So you get not only the PS4, but you also get the Vita. Very easy to do on the Vita as well. It takes probably equal amount of time, probably 20 minutes. You got 2 platinums, bang, bang. There you go. Next one, Bouncy Bullets. It's a first-person shooter. It's kind of a point-to-point and levels, kind of like a platforming type thing, but as a first-person shooter type view. Really weird. And you shoot off a yellow block or a pink block, depending on if the enemy is pink or yellow. Hit him with the appropriate thing, kills the enemy. You keep going through. There's different traps and whatnot to kill you. You go through about another 30 levels or whatnot, get yourself platinum. It's also a plat, so you also get it on the PS4 as well on the Vita for the same price. 2 platinum trophies, another one will probably take you 20 minutes each. Boom, e-penis segment, done.
Speed round. Nice job, Shane.
Nice. And in the EU, I think until the 17th of September, there is a huge sale on Ratalaka Games. There's a ton of their stuff, including Devious Dungeon 2, like £2.60. So get on that.
Book my flights.
Well, before we get over to side B music, let's talk about what we're drinking. Who's going first?
Carl should go first, man. He hasn't gone first in probably at least a month.
Probably. Let me just open this bad boy up then. So a few weeks ago, I went on a little, well, actually, no, a few months ago now, I went on a little works night out to a boozer in the Jewelry Quarter and had a few tasty brews. They did some real good ones in there. If you ever get down to Birmingham, the Lord Clifton, check it out. It's a great pub. Really, really good fun and great beer. And one of my favourite breweries, Tiny Rebel. They always do kind of unique beers. They do some random stuff from the Welsh geniuses. They throw some crazy flavors together. Sometimes they work. The Stay Puffed marshmallow the porter is just so good. The chocolate marshmallow porter as well. And sometimes they don't work as good. They do a peaches and cream, which was a more miss than hit. Sadly, this one, however, Pump Up the Jam.
Oh,
is a would you believe it? A jam donut IPA.
Ooh.
When I went for this, I was like, this could be, is this Liam Gallagher on a good day or is it Liam on a bad day? What am I getting? What I got was a really, really damn fine, sweet and tasty IPA. The colour of this, you can see it's just got a hint of red in there. It's just got a little bit of jamminess. It's super, super sweet, super, super tasty. It's only 5%. Not a cheap beer to pick up, but it's a really, really nice, sweet little number. Couldn't have too many, but a couple of these goes real nice. Especially if you're reaching your limit, you're thinking I need to switch over to something. A couple of these before you move on to something a little bit sweeter. Not a bad shape.
Yeah, we can see it. They can't. This sure does look delicious, though, right? It's got a little bit of
it's got a thickness to it.
Almost got
It's kind of like, if you think about the jam that's heated up in a donut, you're not far wrong.
Heat it up. You guys heat up your
Technotronics from the late 80s. They never cease to amaze me in that little brewery.
Do you heat up your donuts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it depends what you have, but we have warm donuts filled with jam, sure.
Okay. We don't do that here. Cultural difference.
Like you guys, they're just solid lumps with jam piped into the middle, or custard, or chocolate.
It's such a British explanation. It's just a solid lump.
Just a solid lump. It's true.
The color looks like you just took a donut and wrung it out and dumped the jam into your glass. It is pretty dark. Looks good. Shane, what do you got? You opened your beer first.
Oh, yeah.
You still got any in your glass? Are you on your second?
Number 2, I think, or maybe 1.5. Ooh, a little bit of the bubbly. That's not bubbly. Yeah, it's actually what I have is a pale ale. They call it a pale ale. It's written on the thing, pale ale. This is from Boombox Brewing, one of my favorite breweries here. This is Stereophonic. It's a pale ale. It's like I'd say it's a light welterweight at 5%, but it's more of like a hazy pale ale because it's kind of It's kind of dank, actually. Got a little dank in this one. Can't see through it all. Really, really nice and cloudy.
Light colored.
Yeah, definitely got a bit of lightness to it. Yeah, it's a lot like Hillbilly Ninja, but I think it's got a little bit more flavor in it than a Hillbilly Ninja. It's like a Hillbilly Ninja +1, I guess. I don't know. Very, very similar, but very, very delicious, which is the main thing when you come into it. 5%, you can have a few of them. Feel all right. Real nice buzz with these. So, yeah. Boombox Stereophonic Pale Ale.
And I have got, shocking, I know, 1840 Brewing.
Ooh.
Which I have every episode. If you're new to the show, it's called 9. It's an Imperial Stout. They did something a little different here where they took the same stout and aged it in bourbon barrels over different durations of time. So previously they released a 6, which was a 6-month aging. This is a 9-month aging. And I think, according to the bottle, they got an 18 coming out 9 months from now. Well, they'll have aged. So the same stout aged over 3 different durations. You can kind of compare and contrast. You can't really compare and contrast because I'm not going to keep this for 9 months in my refrigerator. But I guess you just have to remember what it tastes like and get the different flavor profiles a little ways out. 1840 makes a really good stout, as my friends can contest to here. They've tried them. And this is a bourbon barrel aged for 9 months, which kind of opens up the flavor a little bit. You definitely can taste the barrel. It's pretty good. It's a sipper, though, and I think it's a good fall beer. Now that we're into the fall, I did save a couple of these. It's 11%, so it's pretty hefty.
Nice.
But it's good. Very good. Let's raise our glasses. Cheers, gentlemen, to resuming recording after taking a month break.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Clink.
EA. Oh, sorry, wrong. Wrong show. Welcome to Side B, music.
And on Side B today, we've got a bit of a blast from the past. A 90s classic, Supergrass I Should Coco, released on Parlophone in the UK and Capitol in the US in 1995. 13 songs, 40 minutes. This, I think, is a new one on Joel. Myself and Shane bamboozled him with it a few weeks ago. He's had a bit of time to listen and to digest. Supergrass are one of the, one of the big indie bands in the 90s. There were that many huge bands at the time. It was a very muddled, very muddy kind of scene. But Supergrass, certainly one of the best, the better bands to come out of there. But probably a little bit of an undiscovered gem for some people, probably particularly in the States. So, yeah, one of my faves. This album, I Should Coco, was kind of definitely one of my albums, summer albums. I'd always throw it on. It lasted years. We had the same indie bands going around on the festival scenes, and these boys, very talented. Very talented little band. Gaz Coombs, the singer, he went solo for a little while, released a couple of good albums. Matador was particularly good. And they've just announced, literally as if they knew that we were recording this show, a reunion to celebrate 25 years of this album. So they're going to be playing a couple of shows next year, February, March time. So, yeah, let's get into it. Shane, what do you think about this one?
Super. They were kind of, like the underrated Britpop band at the time. At the time, you had the big boys, Oasis and Blur and whatnot, and they were just running away with everything. You had Pulp that had Different Class, which was a massively good record, brilliant stuff. And then there's a lot of smaller bands that just were just kind of under that umbrella. That were set there, and Supergrass, their first 3 records they're all fantastic. They're great stuff, but I Should Coco is just a brilliant debut record. I think they were only 18 or 19 when they did this record. So they're young, they had a lot of energy, very inspired and inspiring as well. I got into them a little bit later in the 90s. I think it was like on their second record really started to stand out. And then I heard, tunes off of I Should Coco, like, Caught by the Fuzz, which really kind of got me to sink my teeth into Supergrass and take it. It was like, okay, these guys can write. They can write a tune. And, the rest is kind of history. And this album has always been, kind of those ones I've always had, on the iPod or, always had I've still got my original CD, put away somewhere and whatnot. It's probably seen better days at this point, but I listened to his albums a lot of over the years, and it had been a while, and just had a great idea of when, Joel mentioned he never really listened to a lot of Britpop and whatnot. I'm like, there's so many great albums that just didn't get nearly the recognition that they kind of deserved because of, what went down with Oasis and Blur and whatnot. So we figured every once in a while pull one out and, let's kind of take a gander at it and whatnot. So I thought this one fit the bill really well. So, but yeah, I Should Coco, man.
Awesome. Well, Joel, you had a little listen. We'll talk about what the community think about it a little bit, but what were your thoughts when you first heard it?
I really like this record, you guys. This is very good. Very good. And I'm now questioning what is Britpop? Because to me, Britpop had its own like distinct sound. It sounded like I don't know. To me, it had like the thick accent, and it had more of like it all a lot sounded like the Beatles to me. And I think Oasis really put a microscope on that with their constant commentary back in the 90s, that they weren't hiding the fact that they were kind of leaning on the Beatles a little bit. Leaning's not the right word, but drawing back into the past. I have a ton of respect for Oasis. Here in the States at the time, and I was a big Beatles fan, obviously, but I would hear like, these guys are ripping the Beatles off, and then you'd hear them talk about it like, yep, we sure are, and you kind of had a little bit of, at least through the media, a little bit of disrespect for them here in the States at first. It took me, a girlfriend I was dating at the time really took a shine to them and pulled me to a show. She's like, let's go see this band. And I'm like, oh, those Beatles posers, like, shit, no, I don't want it. And I went and I saw Oasis, and it was one of their classic argument, Liam Noel kind of thing on the stage, and they blew me away. I left that show an Oasis fan. Like, these guys are great. And then I started to kind of get more into them and realize that they're not copying the Beatles. They're just not afraid to share their roots. And they're not going to like hide behind it and say like, they're not going to like, some bands nowadays will be like, I am not, okay, Greta Van Fleet, right? I don't listen to the Led Zeppelin, like bullshit.
Who is Led Zeppelin?
Bullshit. You don't listen to this. So, and that to me, Britpop, so back then, Britpop to me was Oasis, because that's my first exposure. And then I heard some Blur, and that seemed even more British to me. And then over time, all of it seemed very British. But when I listened to this record, it would have fit. And I think some of it did cross over, at least a song did. Because when I played this in the house here, my wife's like, I know that tune. I think there's a tune off this record, I don't know which, that was played on American radio.
It probably would have been All Right, which was, I think it was like the first single or what. It was the first one that really got play over in North America. And it's also, since then it's been used in tons of movie soundtracks and whatnot. It's always one of those tunes that just kind of like a montage type thing or something they would use in a movie and whatnot. But yeah, that'd be the one.
It's interesting you mentioned the Beatles with that, Joel, because like from listening to Oasis, obviously over here, they were very much like influenced by them, and it's some of the music videos and things that they did, and the odd lyrics that they dropped in a song, you can definitely tell that. Third track on this album, Man Size Rooster, has it's the bass line to Taxman, pretty much. I don't know if that jumped out at you when you're thinking about that Beatles influence. You listen to that, like, oh man, that's familiar as hell.
Yeah, I hear Beatles in here. I hear Stones. I heard some Pink Floyd even in some of this stuff where I don't even know how or why. It's just I hear it in there. I will say it has aged really well. I mean, I'm listening to it in 2019 and it feels fresh. It doesn't sound like a 90s record. It's not stuck in the 90s. They were pretty forward thinking or just creative enough or wrote a good enough record that even now it seems relevant. I'm really impressed with how good it sounds and how it kind of fits nowadays. It doesn't, even going back to some of those Blur and Oasis records, they do sound like 90s records. And this to me, and I think it's the diversity in the album. And this is what I really love about some of the albums that I love. I like bands like Faith No More is a good example of this. I love bands that challenge themselves and don't stick by their laurels and are constantly evolving and constantly changing. If you're talented enough, it's okay. Go ahead. Give me something new. I get sick of bands that just keep giving me the same crap I mean, I'll love a band, but if every time they give me the same album, I'm kind of fall off on that band a little bit. I'm going to be like, okay, I'm just going to listen to their first three because I don't need 4, 5, and 6 because it's the first three just redone.
There's I think only a few bands in history that could get away with doing, basically, the same album over and over and be successful and have every one of them, cherished by fans and whatnot. That's really rare and really hard to do. And a lot of bands kind of, to kind of go with what you're saying, kind of get stuck in doing that because they're just maybe not good enough to really move forward and kind of spread their wings a little bit or push the boundary or try something new. A lot of bands are kind of really afraid of that. So it's definitely a real sign of maturity with a lot of songwriters.
And the thing, you get whole genres of music that move as well. So and Britpop, indie is a really good example of that. As some bands did move with it a little bit, some bands stayed stoic and did their own thing. And as the scene changed, bands came and went. Some bands increased in popularity, some bands dropped off. It just depended on what they were doing. But I'm glad that we've recommended this one. There were some phenomenal debut albums from bands in the 90s, which I'm sure we'll recommend some of the others. From Stereophonics and Cast, Kula Shaker, Charlatans. There's so many great Britpop bands that in that little 5 or 6 year period we just had killer debuts, and this has been one of my favourites for years. I love the way it flows. I love the diversity in the tunes. Some of the completely aggressive and a bit punky and a bit just fun, and then others are just really chill and silly. It's a crazy little mix, and I think it's super infectious.
I do like their sense of humor, and they don't take themselves too seriously. I mean, they're just, you can almost hear them laughing behind the headphones with some of these tunes. I mean, he'll pull out like these fake exaggerated harmonized like vocals and
oh yeah, the shrill.
Yeah, it's funny, and the lyrics are lighthearted, and I do love the diversity. I mean, that's my favorite thing about the record. I mean, you hear it's got blues bones behind it. You hear the blues rock in here, but they'll go everywhere from crunchy guitars to some riffy stuff to some, it's almost like funky, clean, strumming type songs to there's actually like an acoustic kind of sounding tune at the end when they close the record out and kind of say goodbye at the end, which I think is a nice touch. I was starting to write down my favorite songs, and I gave up because every time I heard a new song came out, I put it on the list. So I like every song front to back. This is just a solid record. There's not a bad song on here. It's really good. I'm going to add this to my collection. I'm going to seek out this record, and maybe pay a little bit to make sure I get it on vinyl. This great recommendation, and I am pleasantly surprised.
I really love how the first half of the record is literally like, Carl and Joel say. I mean, it's aggressive. I mean, it's punky. It's upbeat. It's fast, but they're still great tunes and all. And then you kind of get onto the side B, and it's just like kind of like a switch turns, and all of a sudden they just started getting into grooves. And I said it's been a while since I've listened to this record and listened to it, getting into it again for the first time in a while. It's like Man, I forgot how great they were of just getting into that groove. And it's just like, I think it's a tune called Time. And it's just that groove. I mean, it just sounded like some like 70s American. It's like, man, these guys could like almost do it all. They're just really, really good at it. And it just kind of brings the whole record together. And going back to the, kind of what is Britpop and whatnot. I think a lot of Britpop had those kind of not quite interludes, but just like those little mini tunes that were kind of like a minute and a half or whatever, just, a couple verses and whatnot. But they were fun. They were silly. They they broke down the edge of going into a next tune with a bit more of a groove and just, like Joel said, just don't take themselves seriously and just kind of change it up a bit. And those tunes were really necessary. And a lot of great Britpop bands could do that and could do it and really tie the record together. And I think that's what happens on this album and what kind of brings it together and makes it really special.
I also like the way they will add little bits to an end of a song. They'll take you on 2 minutes of the kind of the verse chorus repetition of a regular kind of a writing of a song. But then at the end, they'll take you down to a completely different place before they close it out. I really like that. That's one of the things I think, not only is the album diverse between each song, but within a song sometimes. I love that. That's one of my favorite things when I'm writing music is kind of throwing the listener a whole new piece at the end or in the middle. I like that. Very creative. Can't sing this album's praises enough.
See, we do know you.
Yeah.
We do know you well enough, buddy.
Turned out all right.
Yeah.
It's a good album.
Glad you enjoying this one, and hopefully you find this one for the collection because I think it deserves a home amongst the many great records in your collection that you got there.
Never even heard of them, so I mean this is completely off my radar until you guys recommended it, which is even better.
Oh, cool. That makes it even better.
Yeah,
You definitely pick up their discography. The 2 albums after this one.
I was careful to not listen to anything but this. So I could just focus on this one record, but I'm anxious to check out.
No, you can. Yeah.
Check out some more stuff. Community, what'd they say about it?
Well, overall, I think they gave it a 4 out of 5, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Brad, he says it's been years since I listened to this. Pleasantly surprised by how well it's aged. I definitely forgot how good it was. 4 out of 5, and it has aged very well. Tim Pauling, good stuff. Another one that I'd missed. Thanks for recommending. 4 out of 5. And then Master Dugong, Mikey. I'll be honest, I haven't listened to it enough times for a fair review, but it's easily a 3 out of 5. Just haven't given enough listens to pull the trigger on a 4 or a 5.
So we'll take that as a 5. I mean,
we'll take it as a 5.
Yeah. It's a grower.
I'm really glad that we've had a chance to share this because, like, it's kind of a reverse for me. When I was growing up in the 90s, I loved the indie stuff. I loved my rock and my metal, and I loved the Seattle stuff. And when I was going to school and I was listening to the likes of Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and Nirvana and all this the American stuff at the time. And people that I would go to school didn't listen to that American stuff. They only listened to indie, to Britpop. And I guess in the States it probably is. When you've got something that's so cool right on your doorstep, and you've got that whole scene which is so good. Listen to something on the other side of the world takes a bit of an investment, and at the age that we were at the time, it's easy to see you don't invest into that. So it's interesting how, especially people overseas don't never were part of that scene. But I tell you what, the gigs I went to in the 90s, and there's so many of these bands, and they were in their peak. And amazingly, bands after one album were in their peak for a lot of indie bands. First 1 or 2 albums, and then they were on a downward spiral, sadly. So, what a few years.
Yeah, as it turns out, the 90s were probably, my wife tells me this all the time, you are a 90s kid. When it comes to when you have a couple brews and you're feeling like you just want to jam some tunes, it's the 90s I usually fall back to. Happens to me all the time. And I wouldn't even admit it till I started to just recently understand it. Like, you're right. Alice in Chains, Blind Melon. You guys will probably laugh at this, but Spin Doctors. I love that
Sure.
that whole decade. Just so much great music came out of that decade. And that was like in our prime, right? I mean, that's just when we were at that right age where everything was like, just you're most appreciative, I think, when you're in your 20s and you're partying and hanging out with your friends, and it's great music.
There's a lot of change in the 90s as well. You know, life was changing. You know, the 80s had grown very, very stale. And when it comes to Britpop, I mean, it was out with the Iron Lady, and with New Labour, it was a new beginning. Music started to turn around and was very upbeat, much like songs like All Right and, you know, stuff Blur was doing that was really, really la, 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 you know, really just full of, you know, positive energy and whatnot. Things were changing, and a lot of great albums came out of that, and goes with, you know, in America and over in the UK as well.
The 90s are kind of like, these last few weeks at least, kind of on a comeback. Got a new Tool record, which I really, really like. It's a new Korn album, a new Slipknot record. It's like all these 90s bands are just kind of back in action, which is great to see. So let's talk about what we've been listening to. I've been jamming that new Tool a bit. It's not out on vinyl. It's out on CD, but the CD, it's like $45. It comes, you open it, it's got like a little screen in it. You can watch like some video with some 3-dimensional stuff. Apparently, I haven't sprung for it yet. It's been selling so well. It's selling so well here in the States that it's like sold out everywhere, and it's on eBay for like $200.
Oh wow!
So I've only heard it on Spotify, so a little bit more compressed, but I'm really enjoying it. It just harkens back to the kind of the 90s Tool, yet being a little bit more progressive. It's very well produced. I can see why this record took 10 years or whatever it was. It's like they spent a ton of time on the production. I like it. I'm a fan of Tool, and I quite like this new Tool record. I saw Rival Sons. They just came through town. I saw them live recently.
Oh yeah.
I think kind of the end of the tour, the singer was a little bit run down, and the way he yells, right? And he's just got such a belting voice. You could kind of hear that he was, I mean, he still sounded amazing. It would not take anything away from him, but you could tell it was the tail end of the tour. They were still fantastic. And then the other night, I saw Al Di Meola live at a local Indian casino. So Potawatomi Casino in Milwaukee, they have this, like, they call it the Northern Lights room. Kind of a lounge style with a little bit of a balcony, small, I would call it intimate venue. And Al Di Meola, like, that's like some bucket list material for me, just as a guitar player. He is incredible. I love his playing. Kind of got the jazzy Spanish style, and his finger picking and his fret work and his picking work is just so fast. And he's 65 years old now. Guy's been around since the 70s, and man, he nailed it. It was just, I mean, it's fresh on my mind, so it's a little tough to like put it into the perspective of all the concerts I've seen over the course of my whole life. But it might be like some top 10 whole life gigs. I mean, it's just incredible. And he had a quartet with him. He had a piano player from Cuba, he had an accordion player from Italy, and he had a percussion player from Spain. And the four of them just, man, like, I think my jaw is still on the floor. I'm going to have to stop by there later and grab that. Just unbelievable. And that accordion player, man, oh my goodness. Just, I didn't know you could do that on the accordion. Just unbelievable. Like, he, at some points in the gig, he was like singing into the microphone of his accordion and like pulling air out of it, like to almost like pitch shift his voice. It's just like mind blowing gig. But, man, Al Di Meola, man. Oh, takes my breath away. It was just a great show. When I saw he was coming, I'm like, we're going. I buy a ticket. Like, just I freaked out. Like, we gotta go. And we had pretty decent seats. We're just like a few, I don't know, 20 feet from him. Just incredible. And he is one of these guitar players where he's so good, I don't even feel bad about not being good. That's how good he is. Like, nope. I'm not worried about how good he is. He is incredible. Normally, I compare myself as a guitar player to other players. Like, oh man, he's great. Like, I'm gonna try and learn his stuff. I won't even like touch Al Di Meola's stuff. Like, it's just, I hear it and I'm like, I can't play that. Next, like I'm just not even going to
Yeah,
try.
exactly.
He was incredible. So good show. The audience just went nuts. It was great. So such a pleasure to see him live. So Al Di Meola, if you're not familiar, look him up. He's fantastic.
Well, I went to a little metal festival, Bloodstock, in August. Just it's kind of like a mini download. You can everything's like a step down, like their main stage down to the second stage, etc., etc. Just went for the day. Rocked up and enjoy a few bands. Saw Powerwolf, Sabaton, and Grand Magus, the highlights for me. So as you can tell from those bands, it's very power metal. It's very it's fun, the ridiculousness, and had a great time. If you compare it to download, it's much easier to get a beer here. It's a lot smaller, so you can pretty much get a beer whenever you want, which is really dangerous for a music festival because you don't want to be drinking. You've got to pace yourself for these things. And generally, like I go download, and we might have like 6 beers at the tent in the morning before we get in the arena, but just to preload a little bit. But then when you get in there, you literally you grab a beer, it might take you 20 minutes, half an hour to queue up and get one. Then you've got to watch a band, and then you're queuing up for another beer. So you're probably only drinking a pint an hour, and that's sober yourself up at the end of 10 hours or whatever. But this is very different. You literally stood at the bar while you're watching the bands. And you can nip here and there and everywhere. In each tent, there was actually a bar at the back of each tent, which is just super handy. But you drink a lot more. So. Yeah, fun time. Nice cheap alternative. It's a smaller scale. Parkway Drive headlined on the Saturday. Didn't go on the Saturday to see them. Would have liked to have gone back, but the Friday was enough, and it was the same headline set. They were touring Reverence still, so it was the same set that we would have watched to download anyway last June. So yeah, pretty cool. Nice little fun festival. Probably go another day or two. Missed Rotting Christ. They played Thursday, so couldn't quite get to see them, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, probably go again next year just for the day. Test the feelers. I've also listened to that new Tool record, Joel. I'm not, I'm not versed in Tool particularly, but I do enjoy prog. This is taking me a lot to get into it. Like, I think I've probably spun it 6 or 7 times so far. I'm still getting to grips with it. I like it, but I don't love it. I quite like what they've done with James Manakinian's, like his vocals. He's quite sparse on the record. He's not really. It's more instrumental, a lot of it. But I quite like that. So it's nice to have one in the background, but it does take a ton of investment. But I should keep spinning it and keep plugging it away. Let's see where it gets to at the end of the year. Other than that, just been listening to the new Slipknot record, which I think is brilliant. And I've been listening to it every day since it came out, twice a day, sometimes to and from work. I think it's superb. So, yeah, it's pretty much been in my heavy rotation for the past God knows how many weeks.
I also think the new Slipknot is brilliant. I think it's fantastic. I don't think I've listened to it quite every day or quite as much as Carl has, but definitely 3, 4, 5 times a week, multiple times a day at times. Great one to put on. Man, is it almost flawless start to finish. It's really, really cool. It's like kind of listening to a horror soundtrack at times. It's got nice little interludes in between, some of the tunes, and just kind of breaks it up and gives it some nice pacing to it. But man, they got some great melodies on this record. My new favorite Slipknot record. If I want to listen to Slipknot, this is the one I'm putting on now. Very, very good.
I'll come in at the contrarian. I guess it's all right. It's good. It's good, but there's a couple tunes on here that I think it's a little bloated. This record, the new Slipknot, there's a couple tunes on there I think could have would make it a little bit tighter, but they haven't. We talked earlier about diversity and evolution, and I'm not hearing it with this album. It just doesn't. Maybe I'm falling off of Slipknot a little bit. I like their last record, The Great Chapter, quite a bit more than this album.
I think it's still got a lot of the aggression and the power from The Great Chapter, but it's missing that kind of the pain, I think, and the kind of the sadness that you get in The Great Chapter a little bit. But I do think it's more like Shane says, like the little melodies, the little, the 80s kind of horror vibe that I get from it is just lovely. And I think it's structured really well. You get like you get a little intro and you get into Unsainted, and that's boom, 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 and I love the tune. And then it kind of dies down a little bit in the third track, and then fourth track is just an absolute fucking banger, really. And it kind of it goes like that in waves, and I think it just drop out, and you get that like interlude lift music with just freaky into Spiders, I think, and Spiders is a great tune, and there's just something about it. I love the pacing of it. I think it's something I'll listen to from beginning to end frequently.
Yeah, good stuff. I've also Brett Newski, friend of the show. Yeah. Recently put out a live record, so I picked that up, and it's very good. If you're a fan of Brett Newski, like we are, you'll very much enjoy it. The production on it sounds incredible. His guitar sounds so big. He's just got that little acoustic there he's had for, probably 30 years. And man, does it sound great on this record. Very well produced. His voice sounds fantastic. He kind of tells little, stories about the tunes, quick little, jabs about the tunes and whatnot in between them. And just a fun, great little collection of Newski tunes on there, all live, recorded in Appleton, Wisconsin. So good stuff. Really enjoying that one lately.
Old Hamburger's backyard, Appleton.
Right? Beautiful downtown Appleton.
Anything else, Shane?
That's about it at the moment. Just a lot of Slipknot. A lot of Newski, man.
What's on our docket for the next episode? What are we recommending? What are we listening to and talking about in great detail?
Ooh, good call.
What's up? Anybody have anything?
I do have one.
You've been sitting at one for like a while, so I'm kind of like leaving the spot here for you, man.
Okay. So I've been selling it for a little while.
Done.
Band called Dinosaur Pile Up. They played at Download. I didn't get a chance to see them. They got an album out. They've done a few. I wasn't into them. Got a new album out called Celebrity Mansions, which is an absolute banger. I think it's excellent. I was spinning this every day until that new Slipknot record came out. So, yeah, Dinosaur Pile Up, Celebrity Mansions would be one I would throw in front of you, gentlemen. See what you think of that.
I already like the title of the record. That's
Yeah.
a great name for an album, Celebrity Mansions.
It has got a bit of an indie vibe to it. It does. It's not really an indie record, but it does have that little sprinkling of noise in there. But it's definitely more heavier, rockier.
The build up, man. I mean, it's a couple episodes until you're finally able to reveal what this is. It's can't say no. I'm in.
Let it mature.
Say the name of the band. Is it Dinosaur Pilot? Polyp?
Dinosaur Pile Up. That's in a car. Pile Up.
Pile Up. Okay. Cool. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah. We kicked around doing something Vince had just tossed over like a few minutes before we recorded, but wanted to throw it out there. If you have any recommendations, please let us know about them on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you can contact us. There's plenty of places to do that. If you have any recommendations, I would love to hear them. Please toss them our way, and maybe we'll include yours on the next episode or the next episode after Dinosaur Pileup. Can't wait to hear it. A little bit of a closeout here before we leave you for a month. And that's why I'm making this announcement. Carl is traveling to the U.S. for a couple weeks. He can't stop coming to the U.S., I guess. It's like, 3 times in 2 years, right?
Yeah. I'm just slowly slipping past border control each time. At some point, I'll think I'm a local.
Like you can hide stuff in your beard. That's a great place to throw a couple bits of contraband.
Dude, this is coming off, or at least being trimmed down before I come over there.
Really?
Oh yeah, because of the whole random screening.
Yeah.
I thought, seriously, dude, Shane, your customs was the toughest.
Thank you.
Out of every customs I've ever been through. They stop and like talk to you. Like, whoa. No, I don't need to check your pockets. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. What are you doing here?
That's the things you're never expecting. Like, you're just like, do you have anything? No. You already know what you're going to be asked, what you're going to say.
Right.
But here, now it's like, they catch you off guard. They're like, what'd you do yesterday? Yeah, what'd you do at the mall? Yeah, pick anything up? Oh, yeah, cool. What kind of beer do you like?
In the States, it's just, you just go through like this tunnel of like machines. Like, do you have metal? Do you have guns? Wait, no, you can't have liquid. Take your shoes off. Like, just all the, you're drinking something? You can't have a straw. What the hell are you doing? It's just that kind of stuff. In Canada, it's just like some dude sitting there like, hey, what's going on? What you doing? It's just like, it's pretty intense, man. That was tripped me out.
It's even more intimidating now. I was talking to my man, and he was like, "Oh, what are you here for?" I was like, "I'm just here to meet my mates." And he's like, "Oh, where you come from? Where were you yesterday?" I said, "Oh, I was in Milwaukee." And he says, "What are you doing there?" And I explained, seeing Joel and MGC, and he looked over at Joel and he went, "What's your mate doing? Why's he here?" And I was like, I just want to come to the country and see our other mate.
Who's that?
Sketchy, grab your 2-4 on the way out.
Have a nice day. Enjoy your games here.
So we've got a little bit of a break. Carl's going to be in the States. We have a rule here, right? All three of us need to be present to record an episode. That's our thing. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, let Carl travel to the US, and then we're going to resume the week after he gets back. Is that the first time we would be eligible to record after Carl gets back? He's going to be fresh off the plane, probably a little tired from a lot of travel. Yeah, so we're going to record next episode. I think, the next release will be Wednesday, October 16th. So just shy of a month. And then I think we'll be back to every other, back on the regular rotation. So thank you very much for sticking with us, taking a little bit of time here to enjoy our summer, not let Shane destroy our summers. We appreciate that. If you'd like to hang out, chat a little bit in the interim here, we'd love that. We'd appreciate that. You can join our Facebook group. We also have a Discord server. Lots of great gaming and music conversation going on over there. So take this opportunity maybe to connect with us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, definitely. You're down to play some, games as well with us. Play some, fire up Overwatch or some Rocket League or some Borderlands 3 or something. Yeah, we're, definitely.
Anything else, guys, before we shut her down for just less than a month? I know we'll be talking a lot like we always do, but a month before we record.
Nah.
All right, Shane, on the spot. Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. Oh, man. The squeaky wheel gets the cheese.
Go Pack.
Good with it.
All right, everybody. Take care. Hope to see you on Facebook or Discord or wherever else. Twitter, @AbandonedGamers. Instagram, @AbandonedGamers. See ya.